Hello and welcome to Make Some Noise. Today we have a very special guest, original Nirvana drummer Chad Channing, and we're going to get into some of that and basically his life story, what he's doing now. Welcome to the show, Chad. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Now, before we really get into your career or anything, what I'm interested in, I did a little research on you, and I come to find out that I guess at age 13, you suffered some kind of injury to your leg in the gym, and as a result of that, I believe your father, who was a DJ, got you a bass guitar and a set of drums. So, talk about that. Must have had a big influence on what you're doing. Becoming a musician and that.
Well, yeah, it's funny. That whole event completely just like took my life and turned it into a U-turn. I mean, before that happened, I was a huge soccer player. I mean, my hero was Pele, so I was really into that. But when I had this accident, which was kind of a freak accident, I broke my upper femur in 7 places.
Oh wow! Ouch.
And so, yeah, it wasn't one of those things where you go to the hospital, put yourself in a cast, and then they shove you out the door. I spent nearly 2 months in traction because the bones were so close together and shattered. They couldn't do anything about it. So the only thing they could come up with traction, try to pull it to kind of get all the pieces like that and let the calcium in between heal all the bones. So anyway, after I got out of the hospital, I was still in a body cast that like went up to my chest, and they had pins in my knees still. So they kept sort of a traction thing going within the cast. And I was in that for about 9 months. And then after 9 months, then it took some time to, 3 months of physical therapy to get the strength back to walk again. And then I had complications from that. The growth centers were traumatized and ended up dying on one of my legs. And so long story short, I spent next several years, 3-4 years after that, with going in for different surgeries and stuff like that. I actually had bone grafts, they, instead of putting bone in because my legs were growing unevenly, they took them out.
Wow.
I'm supposed to be around about 5'7.5", 5'8", but I'm 5'4.5". So
interesting.
not my choice, but
yeah.
but yeah, like you're saying, during that time, I was really getting into music, and I really couldn't do much else. I obviously couldn't play soccer, so playing guitar and then bass, and then when I got healthier enough, my dad picked me up a drum set, an old CB700 set for like $200. And the first time I sat down on that set, I just played like a 4/4 beat, and I was like, "Oh, weird! I can like do this." It was just kind of I that's when I found out that I had sort of a natural, affinity to music, and like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and pursue this. And so,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm going to throw it to my great, fantastic co-host Jammie Bosstel, who you probably know, Chad, is a fellow musician in his own right. So why don't we start off, Jammie, with you sharing with us, how you first got into Nirvana and following, Chad's career as a musician, and take it away and ask him whatever you want to ask him.
Hi, Jamie.
What's up, man? Finally, huh?
Yeah, see you, brother.
You too, dude. Pretty awesome. No, I did some research and I looked back at some of your older bands, man, like Fire Ants.
Yeah.
That stuff's awesome, dude. Yeah. I checked that out. Of course, Before Cars, when I started talking to you, I had heard about the Before Cars when who was the producer that produced your stuff?
Well, yeah, Jack and Dino did some recording for us. Yeah.
He mentioned Before Cars in an interview or something. He was talking, and I was like, oh, I'm going to check that out. And I'm like that. You know how we are always checking other people's bands out and stuff, man. But I've checked out everything you've been doing, man. I checked out the Methodists. That was pretty good too, man. Yeah. There's a lot of music you've done out there people don't know about, man, and they should, Totally, dude.
Yeah, I've never stopped playing, so there's always been all these different things all the time, and it's kind of funny how that is. But sometimes it just keeps under the radar, and sometimes goes above it. I never really know what to expect with whatever I do.
Yeah, you've been very lucky, very blessed for sure. I mean, who would ever thought you would have fell into Nirvana, at all? But I started talking to you. I saw you doing session work with Tad Doyle. That's when I hit you up. I'm like, hey man, I hit you up like 2 years ago. and we've been talking long before this interview, Jason.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
At least once a month, I make a point to reach out and just see how he's doing, and just he's a down to earth guy, man. You're just so down to earth for who you are and for what you've done, Chad. I got to give you props for being just a down to earth person, man.
Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah, dude, for sure. People don't know too that you knew Jason Everman. Yep. Also, let's go back. You were friends with him like since you were 15. Is that right?
Yeah. See, I'm trying to think. I first met him in was it the fourth or fifth? Oh my! I think actually it was. I believe it might have been the fifth or sixth grade. We were getting into middle school. So, however age you are around there, I don't know. I can't really do the math, but it's twice to say it's been a long time.
You still talk to him at all, or?
Oh yeah. We keep in touch. He's super busy. He's all over the place. But when he comes back into town around the area, he usually gives me a heads up and say, I'm back in town. Let's get together for a drink or something like that or whatever. So
yeah, he's in the military, right? He's like a Navy SEAL or something, right?
He's a Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Still in it, but I'm not. But yeah. So he's busy.
Well, what I'm noticing is there's a lot of Seattle history through you. Like you've played with Jason Everman, you've played with Ben Shepherd, the bass player for Soundgarden, and Jason played in Soundgarden for a minute too, didn't he? Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yeah, he took over as bass player after Hero, and then and he was with them for a while, and then of course Ben after him. So yeah, and then me and Jason. We're actually in so we started like a death metal band with our friend Rob Day called Stone Crow.
Stone Crow. I tried to find that. I couldn't find it streaming or anything.
Really hard to find Stone Crow. I think one song up on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I guess you could call it Stone Crow band, Bainbridge Island, and it might pop up. I'm not sure, but we did the funny thing about that is we did record a record which we only actually released on cassette tape called Road Fauna, and we did it in Rob's bedroom, and we did it on 4-track, and we were recorded by John Goodmanson, who of course he's done a lot of stuff now. Went on to do a lot of engineering, recording stuff, and recording Danger Mouse, and a bunch of other things. So he's done a lot of stuff. So it's kind of funny how that is.
Yeah, you're affiliated with Butch Vig too. I mean, Smart Studios. If anybody looked at did you watch that documentary on Smart Studios on YouTube? I checked that out. That was pretty cool. I like that. And, Smashing Pumpkins. There's a lot of history there with Butch Vig, Smart Studios, all the people that you're associated with. Kevin Wood and Fire Ants was brother of Andy Wood. Is that right?
Yeah. And then the three brothers, Kevin, Andy, and Brian. Brian was the oldest, and then Kevin, and then Andy. And the Fire Ants, it was Kevin on guitar, and our singer, at the time of our recording, some of that was the oldest brother, Brian Wood. So
yeah, I like that. I like that stuff. I checked that stuff out. I liked it a lot. I like a lot of grunge stuff. Not just the Nirvana stuff. I like your history. I like, the whole Seattle history is amazing. What's going on in Seattle now? Anything? Is the scene still alive out there, or what's it like out there?
Oh yeah, there's definitely still a scene there and stuff like that. It's kind of funny because there are friends of mine whose children now are playing in bands. They're starting to get some local recognition and stuff around town and whatnot, and so it's kind of cool to see that sort of thing happen, there's the scene's still thriving. But the funny thing is though, well, I know I don't, maybe thriving is not quite the word to use. I don't know if it's going on everywhere, but I feel like it's getting harder and harder, for when bands playing shows and people come out and seeing shows and stuff like that. It seems to be more of a difficult thing, but but you sort of see a lot of that. It's like, oftentimes it's hard to get, when you get shows, to get a lot of people to come out anymore these days. So that's always been kind of a struggle. And also, sadly, we've been losing clubs. So yeah, let me go back. Let's not say there was a thriving. That I wouldn't say that exactly, but a lot of bands they're pushing it. They're keeping the music going, and we're just kind of fighting back to say, hey, let's keep
original music, right, is hard. You're right.
Yeah.
The tribute bands, we have a lot of tribute bands out here getting a lot. I don't know what it's like there, but a lot of tribute bands are getting the shows out here, and it's getting harder and harder because venues are, after the COVID thing, it seems like they're all about making money and getting people in, and they found a way with the tribute bands. It's easier for them, guaranteed crowd. It's hard for original artists for sure. I'm an original artist, you know that.
Yep.
I identify 100% with you, man. I get it. Yeah, I told you about this record that you're on.
Yeah, there you go. That's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this off Temu. This is your 1988 Christmas in Seattle Sub Pop launch party.
I never even heard about that record. Someone reached out about me about it, and I didn't even know that that I was on the cover. I literally just
you're on the cover, man.
Literally within the last week, I found out that exists. Is it a bootleg? I mean, we can put it out.
Side too, man.
Oh wow!
And it's a double album. 11 through 21 is a rehearsal broadcast recorded at Reciprocal Studios, Seattle, Washington, 24th and 29th of December, 1988. Is also on there. Yeah, I got lucky. I didn't know. I just got it because, I'm a Nirvana fan, of course, but, it's not just Nirvana. I listen to all kinds of music, and that whole era, all the bands that came out in the 90s too. I was, I'm a musician, we're always checking new stuff out all the time.
For sure. Sure.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Chad. Being a former member of Nirvana, we're talking a little about tribute bands. Have you ever seen any of the Nirvana tribute bands, and what are your thoughts on that?
The only tribute Nirvana band that I saw, I actually played with. So back in 20,
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm digging back here. Back in 2018, I went on tour with an Italian cover band known as Bleach, and we toured like Eastern Europe. We toured like the Baltics, we were Latvia, Estonia, we went to Finland. We were supposed to have a final show in Moscow, but the Italian guys didn't have their visas ready in time. To make that happen. But someone had reached out to me about doing that, and at first I wasn't sure if I really wanted to, and then I wasn't sure if the thing was even going to happen at all, because originally the band I was supposed to play with was, I think they were from Texas. I can't remember what their name was, but for some reason something happened and they weren't able to do it. So I thought, oh well, I guess the whole thing's sort of dead in the water. But they came back to me and they were telling, well, we'd love to have you, and we'll pay all your expenses. We'll put you up in hotels. I mean, you don't have to lift a finger, and we'll pay per show and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I love to travel in the first place, and I'd never been to a lot of these places. So for me, it was like an opportunity to also just like check out these places that I've never been to before. So I was like, yeah, what the heck? So I went on a limb, and honestly, I wasn't expecting much. I don't know why. I thought, okay, well, the clubs we play probably will maybe have capacities around maybe 250 to maybe 500-600 people, something like that at most. Every one of these shows, I don't know what the capacities were, but they were well over 1,000.
Wow, man.
I was shocked. I mean, I came out there and it's just like this place is filled. Like in Estonia, they built this brand new hockey rink, and they just big huge facility, and they cut it in half, and maybe the show there. So in half that place, that hockey arena was darn near filled up, and I was just like, what the what? I got in the habit of, like, making take my phone and recording the crowd and stuff like that. I was not prepared for that at all. It was so cool.
Talk about, these are our people, and let me ask you, Chad, can you share with us how you first hooked up with the Nirvana guys? I mean, did you grow up with them? Did you meet them playing the same music scene?
Oh, no. I mean, yeah. First off, I'm not an original Washingtonian. I grew up all over the place.
Okay.
I've been all over the country. But I will, you mentioned what I played with Ben Shepherd. I was in a band called the Magnum Men.
Yeah.
And then, and then Ben Shepherd had joined us to sing, because we were originally kind of a three-piece. We did our own vocals, but Ben joined us and sang for us, and we changed our name to Tick Dolly Row. Yeah. And we had a show at the Community World Theater in Tacoma, and we played with this band called Bliss, which was, of course, then was Nirvana. And that's like when I actually kind of first met them. And then later on, my friend Damon introduced me to them. And so they had asked me, and said, "Oh, well, we have another show coming up. Do you want to come out and check it out and whatnot?" And so I did. I came to the show and saw them. And afterwards, they came up to me and said, "Well, would you be interested in, jamming with us?" And, at the time, I wasn't doing anything. I don't remember why Tick Dolly Row stopped. To this day, I'm not sure what happened. But anyways, I said yes. And we got together and we jammed. And it was pretty fun. And they were like, "Oh, would you want to get together again?" I was like, "Sure." And that's kind of sort of how it went. It was just sort of like this, well, we'll just get together and jam again and all this kind of stuff, which, I mean, I was working on their songs and all that. I never really recall a time where they're like, "Okay, I've officially joined the band." It's more like everything was just sort of a, let's get together again. And they just kind of, boop, and then I was just sort of in the band.
Then you're touring in Europe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, let's talk about your new project, Can of Clouds.
Okay.
Very, very interesting stuff, man. What made you decide to go the instrumental route?
Well, Can of Clouds was kind of an idea that I had a long time ago. I wanted to do something mixing, acoustic and electronic type of stuff,
Yeah.
And so I was never really, I had any opportunity to get it off the ground. But then I was like, well, I brought the idea up to Justine, and she said, "Oh, that sounds like a really cool idea." Because I thought, how cool would it be to try to mix? I mean, she's, I have this whole rock background, and she's, classically trained. She's a degree in music and all this kind of stuff. I was like, I wonder what that would be to, like, put our two worlds together,
Right.
writing songs together and all that. And out pops Can of Clouds.
Yeah.
And since, I think the idea of making an instrumental is just something I just wanted to try, and see, because I've never done anything like it before. So everything is completely, unexplored territory for me. And I've been loving it. It's been so much fun and a challenge too.
Yeah.
It's, all instrumental. Well, I shouldn't say quite all instrumental. We recently did a song where actually we do vocals. Actually, Justine does lead vocals on it, and I do backing stuff. So
okay.
And so it's kind of cool. So I think we'll probably stay mostly an instrumental, but we're kind of dipping our toes in the water and seeing what that might be like. So,
yeah, I saw you were just in the studio again, right?
Yeah, we were in the studio. So this guy reached out to me and said, "Oh, my daughter is studying at the Seattle Art Institute. She's studying engineering, and wants to know if we would be her project, for her grade." And it was a really nice studio. And I'm like, God, that sounds like a cool idea. It's free recording time. So
right.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll take that. So we got about 3 songs together and played and recorded stuff. And I did some electronic drum stuff in it. They had a drum set there. I played a couple songs on, but they were like mellower songs. It's difficult for me to play more hard aggressive stuff, which is why I do a lot of electronic drum stuff these days.
Right.
But I had very simple, basic parts. that I was playing for the drum stuff. So I was like, okay, I think I could probably pull this off. But it was actually a fun experience because I was thinking, well, I spent so much time, in this little room I'm in right here, this small little box. It's like, dude, this is where I wrote the first Can of Clouds record. I recorded and everything in here. I mean, it was mastered, a bit eventually by Jack and Dino, but this little box is where it all came from. And I always thought, how hard would it be to try to, get what we do and then put it in an actual studio? And it actually turned out to be pretty cool. So
Yeah.
it's the recordings are the start, I think, of our next record. So we're slowly working on another one right now. So
Well, definitely will spread the word about your music for sure, man. I consider you a friend, not just the whole Nirvana thing.
Yeah.
Once you added me, and we've talked about other stuff, I haven't really talked to you too much about Nirvana because I got to give you props, man, that you made the decision to go your own way because you are a songwriter. I respect that 100%. That was really big of you.
Yep. Yeah,
No regrets. You're doing well, right?
Yeah.
You write the music you want, and you're a part of history, man.
Yeah.
And music I say, Chad, definitely when you get ready to release a record, let us know, and we would love to have you come back and talk all about that. Now, a few more questions before we wrap it up today, Chad. People primarily, of course, think of you as a drummer, but do you think of yourself more as a multi-instrumentalist, or would you say the drums are your primary instrument?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I walk into a room and everybody's picking an instrument to jam, I would normally be drawn to the drums. That would be my main thing. But I've always sort of considered myself more of a jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing, because my brain, when it comes to writing music, I write everything for the song. Like as a drummer, I've been in different kinds of bands, and I play to what's going on with the music. I will adapt to what the music is as best I can, because I want to make sure that the song as a whole, the end result, is the best that it can possibly be. And if that means, sacrificing a particular style that I like to play, then so be it. That was actually what makes me happy. It's the end result that I'm going for. So if it requires very minimal drumming, then perfect. If it requires a lot of drumming, then great too. Or, something with my guitar playing or anything else. I mean, in Before Cars, for example, which is a very, influenced by a lot of my early singer-songwriter stuff from the 70s, I do a lot of finger picking type of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do a lot of different things, and I always just play for the song, and I don't, I've never considered myself someone that excelled at either or any instrument. I just, like I said, I'm just kind of jack of all trades, just hang in there with whatever put in my hand. Yes, I can't do winds. No thanks.
Yeah. Another question I had is, in doing instrumental music, do you find like, okay, when you write a song and it has lyrics, typically you're telling a story. People listen, they, oh, what's he telling us about? Whereas when you're doing instrumental music, do you find it's more based on your emotion?
Yeah, well, I think when you write music, everything's going to come from emotion and the heart and all that kind of stuff. And I think with instrumentals, it's more like even though there's no lyrics, you're still finding a way to convey how you feel.
Yeah.
It's like I've talked to people who've listened to the music and stuff, and it's just like they talk about how it takes them somewhere. Oh yeah, this made me think of this back when I was a kid or whatever like that. And the thing that's interesting about instrumental music is that it does give you the opportunity to take any song, and give you the feel that you choose. It's like it opens. It's like, oh well, this song brought this guy back to a certain thing that happened to him in his childhood. The same song could have brought someone else to this time where they took a trip with a friend, to somewhere. You never know, but it gives you the door open to however you want to interpret it and make you feel. Whereas when you're writing something, there's a specific story, which you still can connect to. I mean, obviously,
Sure.
Always connected to me. The lyrics and music is like, oh, that song speaks to me, sort of thing. But I'm just simply saying that instrumentals, have the same effect, but in a very sort of different and unique way. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Take it, Jamie. Yeah. Take it away, Jamie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't have I don't know what I was going to say. I was listening to you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely takes you away and puts you in a place. It's good driving music. I listened to the whole thing and kind of just got lost in it. It's kind of the kind of music that you listen to in the moment. You know, if you understand what I'm saying, where you listen to it in the moment and you hang on to the moment, if that makes sense. You know,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah,
it's not like, hey, I'm gonna remember the whole piece in my head. You know what I mean? Because it's instrumental.
right.
Because usually with vocals and stuff, you can remember parts and stuff. But it moves you
Yeah,
basically. Is what I'm saying. You know,
yeah.
for
And it's
sure.
also, yeah, it's kind of like too. It's like when you say, like just remember certain parts. It's like, it's like remembering a certain hook of a song. And you're like, oh, that hook, that song, who does that sort of thing? It sticks with you. But it's
Right.
funny driving music because we've been told that by several other different people
Oh
that like,
yeah.
oh, this is good driving music. And so,
You're like, I
yeah.
don't know what to think of that.
So we have a hard time describing what Can of Clouds is. A lot of people say, so what genre would you put yourself in? And we don't know, but I think we're getting closer to the genre of driving music. If that
There you go.
I think it's unique, man. I think what you're doing is unique. And honestly, I think everything you've done is unique. Um, what people don't know about you, Chad, is you came up with a lot of the drum parts on the Nevermind album too. You know,
yeah.
I was checking out, if you get on Spotify, they have a Chad Channing playlist and they show a lot of the Smart Sessions recordings on there. I don't know if you know that. And I was listening to, I'm like, damn, man. Yeah. I like the rawness of the Smart Sessions, some of the recordings, the way they're sounded too. You
Mhm.
also played on some songs on Incesticide too. I noticed too. Stain, Dive, Big Long Now. I was actually part of there was some guys on Facebook that hit me up and asked me to do vocals for this Nirvana tribute thing I did. Just a recording with some guys in England. I was part of that. And I dove into songs I never knew existed. I never knew about Big Long Now.
How fun is that, Jamie? Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And when you actually take it on to sing and you start seeing the lyrics and stuff, it's like, wow, man, how did he think of this stuff? But
Yeah.
not to go on a Nirvana kick or anything, but I was just saying, as far as your drum parts, a lot of people don't know that you came up with a lot of the parts that Dave Grohl played on Nevermind.
Well, yeah, I mean, because when we were recording with the first Smart Sessions, and that was originally working towards the second record. So when Dave took over, they restarted recording the record, but they kept the songs. And so when I listened to the record and then heard the songs they've done, yeah, and then heard that David kept there are some slight little differences that only I probably know when he changes it, but it was really cool because it's like I felt really honored. I mean, because Dave is such an amazing musician, an
Yeah.
incredible drummer. Like, I mean, he was the perfect choice I think to come after me. I mean, I sort of see myself as a puzzle piece in the band. Like I fit that the right piece in time that Nirvana needed at the time, sort of thing, and ultimately ended up with Dave. But yeah, it was really cool. I was really touched when I listened to that
Yeah.
and get
But
so much stuff.
the
So
song
cool.
the song that broke them was Love Buzz, and that's the song you played on.
Yes.
So
Love Buzz. Yeah.
right? That's the song that broke Nirvana right off the bat, right off. Was that song?
Hearing that song on the radio was the very first song I ever heard was on the radio.
Yeah.
I can't remember what station it was, but someone says, "Oh, Love Buzz is on the radio." I'm like, it is? We're like trying to fiddle with the I think I'm driving in the car at the time or something like that. I don't know, trying to find the station. And I was just like, whoa, it was so surreal. Just like, because first time I think I've ever heard myself on the radio. Well, as a musician, anyways, as music.
You were with them 2 years, right? 2 years, 88, well, 88, 89, 90, 3 years. Then
Yeah, about 3 years, something like that. The math is many ways, but
you
yeah,
did a lot of music with them in 3 years, man. Wow.
yeah, busy.
So,
Yeah,
the one thing Jamie will always have is, that famous tag, original drummer of Nirvana. And that's something that obviously he should definitely be very proud of. But he is, as you said, moved on, and that's just a small part of his story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I love.
yeah, goes. I was just going to say, I'm definitely one of the drummers. As you guys know, there's been a bunch.
Right.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Chad, if you don't mind getting into it, you mind talking all about leaving the band and what happened there?
Well, yeah, as you know, I've answered this question more times than there's hair on my head, and I think, yeah, the easiest way for me to put it, and it really is, it's kind of a musical difference sort of thing, really. I mean,
Okay.
as you, Jammie brought up, earlier, it was really about, opportunities to like do stuff. I wanted to do, I mean, I am a songwriter. I've always been a songwriter, and I just wanted that opportunity to be able to do that. And originally I thought that was going to be there, but then I realized, well, that's not going to be there.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
I know how that goes. I was in a band like that, very successful band myself, and I identify with that because I won't name the band, but I was in a band for a while. We went for Stain, 3 Days Grace. I went for Papa Roach, Puddle of Mud, lots of big bands, and we were on our way. And then I realized the one song that my band wrote, or that actually did, that I wrote, it got us a bunch of attention. Well, long story short, the guitar player and drummer didn't like that. And I was like, well, I'm going to go do this over here. I'm going to go work with, I ended up working with John Sturr from Mullion Axe, and that's how I formed Praise the Fallen.
Wow.
But it was because he liked my songs. I realized I was a songwriter and my own band didn't want to write my songs.
Yeah. So, yeah, like I've always said, in the end, it's just about following your heart. So, but
Right.
There you go.
yeah, and we all, we always remain, good friends, and we take our different paths and live our lives the best we can.
So do you talk to anybody from that scene back in the day? Any of the guys from Alice in Chains or Soundgarden or anybody like that, Chad? Or
Do I?
do you talk to any of those people from the 90s scene?
No, I mean, it's kind of off and on. I mean, I see Chris every now and then, but obviously, friends with Ben and stuff. But like, I don't really keep in regular contact with a lot of people. That I'm across the pond, and
Right.
I'm here hiding in my box 24/7 most of the time.
There you go. Yeah.
You're right. You still ride the ferry?
Shh, don't bother me.
There you go.
You still ride the ferry then?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you told me about that. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. How's the shows going for your band now?
They're good. It's been really, really fun. We've had really good shows, and each time that we play a show, it's I think we gain new fans, people never heard of us before and stuff like that. And of course, oftentimes we're like, we really like you guys, but how do you categorize your music? As we talked about earlier, I don't know, but I got a feeling, driving music might be the thing to describe us.
Yeah, I just want to say,
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't offend you when I said that.
No, I actually like that.
Okay.
I associate half of my life when I think about like my childhood was on the road, so I love that. So
the thing with that, Jammie, is if you always read articles how people credit Black Sabbath with actually creating the genre of heavy metal. It didn't really exist before then. So who knows?
Right.
Chad and his band, maybe driving music, they're gonna create the next genre here. I mean, it's possible.
Why not?
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
In fact, Chad, before we wrap it up, I'd like to say we'd like to have you come back on the show, a couple of months, and maybe what we'll do is we'll talk specifically about what you're doing now and put a little bigger spotlight on, because it sounds very interesting. I'd like to have a chance to listen to some of the music and then get a chance to talk and have you come back and talk about it.
Yeah, sure. Give it a spin. We'll chat about that down the road.
Okay, Jammie, anything else before we wrap it up, my friend?
I want to check those tracks out with the singing on it. I'm curious what that's going to sound like, and let's give a shout out to Justine too, his partner in Can of Clouds as well.
Maybe she could come on with him. That would be great. Then we could kind of get both perspectives about it.
Maybe we can get them both on here next time.
Okay, cool.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much, Chad. It was an honor having you come on our show, and definitely we'll have you back. Okay, my friend.
Yeah, you bet. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
I'll hit you up, Chad. You take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy,
guys. Take care.
We'll see you. All right, brother.
All right.
Bye-bye.